Well, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Criterion Corner. I'm really excited to talk about this film today, and I've really been enjoying talking about multiple films in the collection and getting those out there for you guys to watch. I hope that I've recommended some stuff you haven't seen or just kind of made you reminisce about things that you love. It's fun for me to talk about these films and have a platform and a specific way to present this information to people. And the film I'm going to talk about today, I don't own a physical copy of, which is a tragedy, but this is a film that I watched on a whim because of the poster on the Criterion channel. I was absolutely blown away by this movie, and I just thought that it was one of the most unique and beautiful things that I've ever seen in my life. And the film I'm going to be talking about today is Taste of Cherry. Taste of Cherry is directed by Abbas Kiarostami. A middle-aged Iranian man, Mr. Badi, is intent on killing himself and seeks someone to bury him after his demise. Driving around the city, the seemingly well-to-do Badi meets with numerous people, including a Muslim student asking them to take on the job, but initially he has little luck. Eventually, Badi finds a man who is up to the task because he needs the money, but his new associate soon tries to talk him out of committing suicide. This film obviously tackles some really heavy subject matter, and that's one of the things that I was really excited to see was how this was handled. Especially, I love seeing films that tackle really heavy subject matter from people from different cultures, and this is obviously a film that comes out of the Middle East. And this filmmaker, I know a lot of people really love him a lot. He's got several films. This is the only one I've seen, which I need to get on watching more of his material because I think he's incredibly talented. But this is a film that takes place almost entirely in a car. It's one person in a car going from place to place to place and trying to find a person who will help them when they commit suicide. And what's great about this movie is you don't get the complete 100% insight into why Mr. Badi wants to commit suicide. You're given little glimpses into his life, little pieces of information that he has through dialogue sequences, which that's most of this film, is really intense dialogue sequences between these people. It's not just the character development element of the movie where you're learning about these characters and the people that he's meeting with and why he's doing this, but you also learn so much about the culture and religion, the religion's perspective in this area to suicide and why he's going about it in this very specific way. And you just hurt for him more and more and more as the movie goes on, and how he truly does not see his life of any value. He thinks that his life needs to be ended. The person that he meets that finally agrees to it, the dialogue sequences between those two characters are some of the best I've ever seen in a film, and that just shook me, and I could not stop crying because it's something I've discussed it multiple times on my channel before. But I struggle pretty heavily with mental health issues. I have pretty severe anxiety and depression. I feel like there's a lot of emotions in this film that kind of ring true for me, where there's been moments in my life where I felt completely worthless and useless, and that life would be easier if I just wasn't around. And it's difficult when you watch films with that kind of subject matter, but at the same time, this isn't just a bleak movie that says hey, your life is over or that your life is meaningless. Similarly to a film I talked about that was recently released, On the Count of Three, where it has a really dark subject matter and looks into mental health and suicide and depression in a very realistic and enlightening way. But there's a glimmer of optimism, and that's what I like about these types of movies, is that there's a silver lining, despite the fact that the silver lining might be difficult to obtain. It's really meditative and beautiful, and this movie shook me to the core, and it's something I'll never forget. Part of it's due to the performances, which everyone in this movie is just fucking incredible. Each performance is so dedicated, and it feels like real people. After a while, you forget you're watching a movie. You just think you're sitting in a car with this guy going through the experience that he's going through. And it really was kind of eye-opening to me, and it shook me up a lot. The cinematography in this movie is beautiful. There's so many shots, especially with it just being a guy traveling in his car. There's so many incredible, beautiful shots in this movie of the area that he's traveling around through. And in this specific place that he chooses to be buried in the movie, it's really these winding roads and it's amazing to be a part of it. When he's downtown, there's all these people and it's very crowded and cluttered, and there's obviously a lot of hustle and bustle going on. But when he goes out into this area, it's so isolated and lonely, and it just complements the mood of the film so well in that environment. And I love what they were able to obtain with the cinematography in this film of just simple shots in a car. And it's so beautiful and quiet and meditative in a way that a lot of movies have not been able to affect me to this level. And it's a film that I think everyone needs to watch. I think it's a very important movie about mental health. And it's difficult now, I feel like there's a lot more films being made about mental health, which is great. And I'm glad that there's more of a look into mental health and caring about other people's mental health. This is one of those movies that really tackles that subject matter in a way unlike anything I've ever seen in my entire life. And this is such a beautiful film. And I would highly recommend everyone, if you have a Criterion channel subscription, or just go and buy this film. It is totally worth your time and money to watch this movie. So have you seen Taste of Cherry? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I think this movie is absolutely beautiful. It's one of my favorite films of all time, and it's one that I'm going to continue to watch over and over again. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, it helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always trying to put out new material, and I look forward to getting more out in the near future. As always, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.